if you're like me, you always feel like, I've always felt like, by the time I get into something, I always got into something a little too late, to for it to make a financially, what's the word I'm looking for? Difference in my life, you know. And part of it is, if you're always buying when the thing that you want to get into is high, right? So when a thing's high, things are high when people are excited about it. People are excited about something when they're getting more expensive, and other people are buying it. It draws attention. Every time someone says that they're gonna stop, you can see the break in the clad up here, says that they're gonna stop making pennies, people become excited about it. You know how long it lasts? About a week, right? You know why it only lasts a week? Like when Pokemon got exciting about 2001. The price was super high, and people were buying, and there were tons of podcasts on Pokemon cards. Now most of them have went away, or they lost a lot of interest. Nice misaligned die. This way. Nice condition penny. Let me look at this Liberty under the loop. I was checking for extra thickness on the Liberty. There is none. There is a nice misaligned die. You see those little lines? Yeah, and you see, it's interesting. I read about it, and this is the first time I'm seeing it, or in a while. You'll see the little line every so often. All right, we haven't saw it. There goes another one. There goes another one. There goes another one. This is because the collar is breaking, and that's why it's also why the coin is so misaligned. That's pretty cool. And it will break in lines like that, and it'll just keep breaking open until the collar they either replace it, or the collar just explodes and goes all over. That's when you'll start seeing some real crazy errors, when the collar gets totally destroyed. So Pokemon goes up, people start paying. I'm just gonna make people start paying $1,000 for a certain type of Charizard, for example. So you go out and you buy 5 of them. You spend $5,000 on those $1,000 Charizards because you think that they're gonna go up to $2,000 one day, right? And then you would have made you would have doubled your money. That's not bad. Instead of just sitting in your pocket, right? It's not doing any good in your pocket. And then people start becoming excited about Charizards, or the economy goes into a recession, right? Which happens every, I think, 5 years, right? It's pretty often. Economy goes into a recession every 4 or 5 years. It's more often than not. And then all of a sudden, people have to start selling. The economy gets bad. People start losing their jobs. Now those Charizards are $500, and your situation's bad too. Now, will those Charizards go up to $2,000 one day? Yeah, but it might be 10 years from that point, which is 5 years later from when you bought it. You already want to see them go up, because they went up 100%. They went from 500 to 1,000 within a year. So, right, if you think about it, if they went up from 500 to 1,000 in a year, well, in 5 years they should double at least again, right? No, but that's not what happened. Let me look at that Liberty under the loop. Now I'll keep talking. What happened was it didn't go up. It stood at 1,000 for another year, and then it started going down slowly but surely. And oh wow, I'm gonna have to hold on. I'm gonna have to get a piece of paper for this. Okay, so there's a couple things going on with this penny. One is, I don't think the Liberty. I think that's just deteriorated dye or just wear and tear. But the W has a most likely what appears to be either a strike through. So there was something there. Look how wide that W is. Let me pull out another penny. I got a 79 here. And what's this other one? Oh, let's look at the 79. Let's compare these W's. Well, I guess it's because of where the strike through is. It really makes that W look super duper thick. Same thing with the E. I don't know. That W and E looks thick. Some of the others also do. Oh, it goes into the head. There it goes. Let me get this. Let me put on the light. Let me move this stuff over. It's, I think, messing up the. Right? You can see that little angle. Is that normal? Is that you see it right there? Let me see. Let's see. I know there's something in the head that you find in all of them. Is it that little angle? No. I don't know. Hard to say. Anyway, the W's where it's at. We got a little tiny strike through right there. And I don't know what it is. On the inside of it, it looks like stuff. Also, on the reverse, we got a nice grease strike. See how light the letter is? You can't see the bottom of the E. Looks like umph. All right. So okay. All right, that's nice. It might be worth a couple bucks, especially under the microscope. If that little strike through looks like a letter, then drop like a piece dropped from another coin and got smashed onto that penny. So, oh, look at this. Wow, these pennies are really interesting today. I don't know if it's that coffee that got me so alert. Look at this. That is a wild ridge ring, let me tell you. I've never seen one like that before. Look how thick it is. Let me look at that under the loop. I'm going to keep the camera rolling so I can keep talking. So you buy your Charizards. Yeah, this ridge ring is awesome. It goes straight through the letters on the top. You buy your Charizards. Now you lose. The recession comes. You lose everything people bought, lost whatever certain percentage, and now you got $2,500 in Charizards. And what are you gonna do? You gotta sell them, right? You gotta sell them because you need the money. So you sell your $5,000 worth of Charizards that was supposed to be worth $10,000 one day. You sell them for $2,500, and that's right back to what they were worth pre-bubble, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of things that I got into. You see that, right? On the neck. It's a little line. If it would have, oh, it does come out a little bit. You see over here? You see the line in the neck. And then you can see right there is the die clash. Goes into the head and it comes out. Let me go a little closer for you to see. When I saw the neck, I was like, oh, that looks weird. And I was like, oh, if it was a die clash, it would be outside. But you can see the die clash right there. So how about on the reverse? Do we see anything on the reverse? No. And if it is there, it's really, really weak. But it does have a very weak die clash. Let me put this with the strike through, maybe. I'll put them side by side. So, and that's what happens to a lot of people, and that's happened to me in the past. Misaligned die, not beautiful 75. I'm looking at the 5 and the date. So many things I feel like I got into late, like the Charizard in that example. I mean, don't get me wrong. I make my money. You know what I mean? I make my money, but it's much, because of the way the economy is right now, it's much, much less than 88D. It's much, much less than it would if this was a strong economy. Now the thing is, you have to have that what do they call it? That dry powder, for when the economy is bad. If you don't have that dry powder, that means cash. When people talk about dry powder, they're talking about cash. If you don't have money, so the person who sold their Charizard for for $500 a piece times 5 is 2,500. No white AM. Someone bought them, right? Now, if the Charizards, now we're talking about 5 years later in this example. In 5 years from that point, they go back up to 5,000. The person sold it. He needed the money. The person bought it, who had the dry powder. He had the money to buy them. Then they go up to 10,000 because the economy gets better. Then he sells them back to somebody else for 10,000. And he looks for another depreciated or depressed commodity that people are selling, the item that people are selling. 2010 first year Shield, and then he buys it. While it's cheap for whatever reason, he understands the way these things move up and down, and that's the person who's making the money. He's buying cheap, he's selling high. That's general principles of making profit in period. Period. Not even that's it. Buy low, sell high. That's it. That's the number one principle of making money. Number one. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your education is. If you know how to buy low, sell high, you're gonna make money, and a lot more than other people who call themselves geniuses. That's it. That's all you gotta know, man. And not have bad habits, obviously. If you got bad habits, then that's where people get screwed. There's so many geniuses out there who are super talented, but they got bad habits. Gambling's one of the worst ones, for example. Of course, drugs, alcohol, other things, that could also play into it, right? You can make $1 million and you can spend $1 million. Meanwhile, someone else is killing themselves at whatever they get paid at their job. They can't make anything. So I'm gonna keep going with the video and the conversation. We're not even halfway through, so we'll see what happens. So most people, I think, are like me, right? I remember when I was a kid, Well, actually, I wasn't a kid anymore. I was a teenager, and my father used to come and visit me. Lived with my mother. My father used to come and visit me, right? Because they broke up. And he kept doing that even into my adulthood. You know, on the weekend would come every once in a while. He'd come and see me, and once he came and he said here are these silver bars that I bought 20 years ago. He goes, they never became worth anything, and here you go, right? Which of course there's a lot to read into that. If you want to get into the psychosocial part of that, I mean, not cool, right? You know, your parents are supposed to leave you things that are worth money, not leave you things that are, because they're not worth anything. That's like the reverse of what good parents usually do. So anyway, I'm not going to get into all that. So but the point was that he bought them. I remember when he bought them in the 70s, and and it's funny that he gave them to me in the 90s, right? At some point in the night, could have been early 90s. So he bought them in the late 70s, when they were about, if I remember correctly, they were about $8, right? So in the beginning of 1970, silver was like $1.50 or $2. This is a beauty. It's not a proof, but it does have some brassy plating going on there. That's a beauty. So I guess, you know, he saw that silver was going up, right? It was $1 something in the beginning of the 70s, and then it went up to $8 by mid to late 70s. He reads newspapers, he watches TV, so he goes on, he buys a bunch of silver bars at $8 a piece, which in the 70s was a lot of money. Your rent was about $100 a month in New York, right? Now it's about $3,000, but it was $100 45 years ago. So $8, if you bought 20, you're talking about, you know, $160. You could have paid your rent for two months on some silver. I think he had 10 of them, to be honest. So let's just call it $80. He could have paid, you know, almost 1 month's rent. So he took a part of his. Oh, that's nice. And look at the N. Look at that N. Is that a line? Is that damage? So he gives it to me. And let me tell you, that silver stood $8 for the next 10 years that I held on to it. That's a little line going through it. It's just a line. It's damage. Nice looking 66 though. And then I end up selling it. I think I sold them for like $10 a piece in the mid 90s, late 90s. So he buys them for $8 in the 70s, my dad, and then he gives them to me because they're now $8 in the 90s is like, you know, couple beers, you know what I mean? So he's like, I don't, you know, he doesn't know how to sell them. He works, he's got money. He's like, here you go get $80, you know, or whatever, $100. Here's $100, kid, you know, basically. And 5-10 years later, the pennies are still worth the same thing. Oh, look at that. Let me look at that under the loop. So I sell them for $10, 5-10 years later. The silver 1 ounce silver bars. And so basically 20 years after he bought them for $8, they went up $2. Now from the mid 90s, fast forward, I guess it's 30 years, right? Yeah, fast forward 25, 30, let's say 30 years, and it's tripled. All right. I mean, you know, I guess that's okay. There are so many things from 10 years. Yeah, there are so many things from 10 years ago that have went up 10x, right? So to wait 30 years for something to go up 3x, I mean, maybe you're probably beating inflation, but that's about it. You know what I mean? I remember I was buying houses in Pennsylvania in 20 years ago, 2005, for how much was I paying? Five thousand a piece, between 3 and 5,000 a piece, and then me and my friends and my cousin would go into them and fix them up and rent them out. Did that for about 5 years. So that was 20 years ago. Those houses are now worth about um, 60 to 110,000. That's 10x from the purchase. I put probably another five into them on the high side back then. Ship material was cheap. Let's call it 10x in 20 years. That okay. 10x in 20 years, 5x in 10 years, but 3x in 30 years. I don't know. That's a long time. You're a whole different person. You know what I mean? If you're 30 years old, you're 60. Maybe you wanted to enjoy them when you're in your 50s. Now you have to whatever. It's a whole different ballgame. So I say all that for anybody who stayed with the video to this point, to get to, did I get into pennies too late? Did I get into YouTube? Is this just another thing that I got into late? You know, if I would have got into YouTube 5 years ago, would I have 100,000, 150,000 subscribers making, $1 or $2 or $3,000 a month, right? If I would have gotten to pennies 10 years ago, would I have 10 times what I have now, which I have about 200 or 300 pounds, let's say 300 pounds of penny rolls? Would I have had 3,000 pounds of penny rolls, for a very minimal amount? And how about if they stop making pennies and all I have is 300 or 400 pounds of penny rolls? That's a big difference between, what I have now and what I could have had. No flare G. So these are things that I think of. Oh, did I get in it? Did I get in it on time? Right? I'm healthy. The YouTube channel is growing nice and steady. I do have 300. Maybe they won't stop making pennies for another year or two. Maybe I will get another 500 pounds. Maybe I will end up with 600-700 pounds before they stop making pennies, and that'll be enough to whatever. And maybe pennies will become worth 10 cents. Copper pennies might become worth 10 cents a piece. Okay. Maybe copper will go up to $10 a pound, which I really think copper, just like gold and silver, that they really control the price of. Copper basically is the same price. Even though if you buy it, it's twice as expensive as it was 5 years ago. The funny thing is, the price of copper hasn't changed. It's still $4 a pound. I think 5 years ago it was $3.50, $3.70. It hasn't basically changed in the past 5 years, but the price doubled, like on the stuff that you have to buy. I guess because of all the other things that it takes to manufacture that copper pipe, the copper wire. Oil hasn't went up that much in the past 5-10 years. There was a time when it was really down. 61D. So I guess what my ending thought will be, let me look at this in the loop, would be, for those of you who are new to the channel, or maybe who just started penny roll hunting, or oh, look at that. It's always the Liberty for some reason. I just can't tell if it's machine doubling or not. It's very difficult for me to tell. That R is really nice looking, and the E in Liberty, really, really nice looking. Let me see if I can get a little closer. Just get a little closer. And there's a lamination there, Woody. I have the light on them. I have to shut it off. Anyway, in the E and the R, yeah, you can see the doubling there. And in the T, the only question is it a double die or is it a mechanical doubling? But it is doubling. You know. And look, there's a dime. There was a dime in there. It looked like a penny, right? Oh, wow. Cool. You know, get out there, man. Get your pennies. If you're interested in coin roll hunting, penny roll hunting, go out and get your pennies. You know, go out there, get in and start. I mean, don't go to my bank. You know what I mean? Go to your bank. Don't take pennies out of my bank. I'm kidding. JK. That is weird. Let me look at that under the loop. You know, go out there, get them. You know, start saving up. I wonder what caused this. It's just interesting how it's also with a very, very like. This is an interesting looking penny. I'll leave that dime for the last. That way you're at least you got something, you know. I mean, for a penny, man, you can't go wrong. You can't go wrong for the price, man. Like, they're gonna stop making them. And imagine if pennies became worth nickels, 5 cents, and you didn't listen to me. All right, so the thing that's going through the 6, right? Can that be a strike through or something on the die? Possibly, most likely. I don't know. Let's just put it like that. But right next to it, the 9 has separation to the right. Oh wow, yeah. So we got some very nice either and the Liberty also. And the motto on the IN, the N in the motto, maybe a little bit in the GOD. Let me look at the reverse real quick. This is how I used to do videos before, and that's why it used to be an hour long. I didn't pause. But today I was on a topic, that's why I didn't pause either. So look at the, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but on the 9, there's doubling. Separation. Right at the top there, around the top of the loop. I can see it even through the camera, so I'm pretty sure you can see it. So I don't know what caused this, but all I know is that there's separation on the 9. It could be mechanical doubling or it could be a double die. Oh, you can see it in the 7 too. Look, right there in the tip. All right, now in the Liberty, forget about it. You can see all over the place. It's either again, it's either extra thickness, double die, or it's mechanical doubling. But you can see the doubling in the BER. It's very strong. Okay. And last but not least, we got this dime. What a nice little gift, huh? What year is that? 68. So it's clad. What a beat up dime, huh? Wow. I'll take it though. It's cool looking. I like the redness on it. I wonder where that came from. What a nice coin to end the video on. Has that mottled look. All these different colors. I think it's missing clad. Right? That's why it got found. That's why it was in the pennies. I think it's a clad error, which is I don't know how they put the clad. I'm assuming they do the clad on all the coins the same way, electroplating. I'm assuming that. I could be wrong, but that's how they do pennies. That's copper onto zinc. I don't know how they do. I don't even know what this is. I don't even know what the clad is. I mean, I'm not into dimes and nickels and quarters. I don't know what the clad is on them. If it's steel or zinc, it's not silver. I don't think it's silver. Now, if you know, let me know in the comments below. It's cool looking. Look at this. Look at this. All these little things going on in here. Love to know what happened to this dime. What a life it lived, huh? All right. Hope you enjoyed the video. Hope I inspired someone to get into penny roll hunting, collecting, saving all your pen. I'm not even bringing back the zincs anymore to the bank. I did 2 bank runs to the bank. I brought back $200 over the past year, which is $200 is 800 rolls, right? No, $200, excuse me, is 400 rolls. It's 2 rolls per dollar. So I should have had those 400 rolls for the future. Maybe they would have became worth $2 a piece, which would have 4x my purchase, right? So instead of getting $200 from the bank, I would have been able to sell them for 800. But now I can't because I brought them back to the bank. And for a penny, this is probably the best. I mean, you can't lose, man. They can't become worth less than a penny. You follow me? You can't. It's the Charizards. They bought them for 1,000. They went down. These pennies are not going to become worth less than a penny. What you're paying, that's never going to happen. And then the copper pennies, of course, are worth 3 point something cents. All right, so that's my rant. Get out there and get your pennies. Please click like and subscribe. God bless. And shout out to all my members, Eric, Sandra, Otis, Marte, and Tara. And I'll see you in the next one. This is episode, I didn't even say it, right? This is episode 400. Ooh, I'm not going to say what it is. I have to check. I don't know what it is, to be honest with you. We're at the end of the video, so it doesn't matter. Nobody's here anyway. Maybe Otis is here. Otis stays to the end. Content. 438. Episode 438. Let me see. What are we gonna do for which one's gonna be our thumbnail? Any of these really nice looking pennies? Oh, how about this ugly one? It's kind of cool. I'll take a picture. There's a little picture button on the camera. Maybe that'll be it. All right. Have a great day, guys and girls and ladies and gents. See you later.